Honestly, I'm really excited to see how it holds up to the movie. I am so excited about this. Hi, hello, welcome. Hope you're doing great. I hope you're doing amazing. My name is Kharissa, you can call me Kari, and welcome to my January TBR. So I've been spending a lot of time sitting down and being like, what are my goals for 2022? What do I want to accomplish in 2022? And I realized that something I really want to get into this year is to get back into reading. Because honestly, as a self-proclaimed former gifted kid that is incredibly mentally ill, that is not something I've really done since high school. It's not something I've really had the time to do, and now that I have a lot of more free time on my hands, thank you COVID, I really want to sit down and kind of get back into reading. So with that goal in mind, I really want to sit down and have a way to document what it is that I'm reading throughout the year, and maybe, just maybe, by the end of the year, I'll be able to really rekindle that love of reading that I feel like I've lost. So if you're one of those curious people that love to know what other people are reading, or you just want to put something on while you're doing something else, then welcome, hello, hi, this is the video for you. And I hope that we can share what it is that we want to read. The first book on my January TBR is a book that I started reading a couple months ago, and I actually finished, but I feel like I haven't really been able to get all out of it that I want to. And so for starters, I'm going to start with A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So A Court of Thorn and Roses is a Beauty and the Beast retelling set in this fantastical world where there is a wall that divides the Fae from the humans. And it follows a scroll farer who ends up killing a Fae accidentally and has to forfeit her life and live on the other side of the wall to be able to fulfill an accord for killing a Fae. I am very picky about my Fae books. I am very picky about fairy material as somebody that has been obsessed with the Fae since high school, and as somebody who is also a pagan myself. I read it and I have thoughts on it. And so my goal now for January is to reread it and kind of pick apart my brain a bit more on how I felt about it and why I feel about it the way I do. And hopefully I will have some kind of review for y'all so we can discuss together what it is about this book that made my brain go, huh? If that makes sense. The second book in my January TBR is Howl's Moving Castle by Deanna Wayne Jones. This is the book that infamously inspired the Studio Ghibli movie Howl's Moving Castle, which is my comfort film. If I'm sad, that is the film you're gonna be have me see. And I've never read the book before, but I've heard amazing things. I've heard amazing things about the series itself, so kind of interested to see what happens and to get my toes wet in this little moment. So for those of you who have never seen Howl's Moving Castle, I'm going to read the synopsis for y'all. So Sophie has the great misfortune of being the eldest of 3 daughters, destined to fail miserably should she ever leave home to seek her fate. But when she unwittingly attracts the ire of the Witch of the Waste, Sophie finds herself under a horrid spell that transforms her into an old lady. Her only chance at breaking it lies in the ever-moving castle in the hills, the wizard's Howl's Castle. To untangle the enchantment, Sophie must handle the heartless Howl, strike a bargain with the fire demon, and meet the Witch of the Waste head-on. Along the way, she discovers that there's far more to Howl and herself that first meets the eye. So this novel is basically a mixture of fantasy and romance. I'm really excited to see how it holds up to the movie and see what is different, what is the same, and kind of explore what Hayao Miyazaki left out of the novel when he was making the film. So I'm really excited about this one. So next book in my TBR is Kiki's Delivery Service by Eiko Kadono. This is another book that inspired one of the Studio Ghibli films, famously, Kiki's Delivery Service. So the novel follows Kiki, a 13-year-old little witch who leaves her house for the first time and travels to a city by the sea to find her fortune and settle herself as a real witch and discover what her calling is as a witch. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's lighthearted, it's a fantastic, beautiful film if you've never seen it. I'm really excited to see what are the differences between, the book and the movie. I know this is definitely a bit more, middle grade, which is not something that I tend to read quite often. And it's a bit more of this book is a little bit more of a contemporary fantasy, which is not what I tend to read that often, but I'm really excited to see what she has in store for me. So there are 2 more physical books in my TBR that I'll be reading this month, but they're currently in my P.O. box, so we're gonna have to wait till I can get the physical copy. But the first one of those books is Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young, which is a young adult mystery thriller. The description of the book is, some of the prettiest flowers have the sharpest thorns. The girls of Innovations Academy are beautiful and well-behaved. It says so on their report cards. Under the ever-watchful gaze of their guardian, they receive a well-rounded education that promises to make them better. Obedient girls, free from arrogance or defiance, free from troublesome opinions or individual interests. But the girls' carefully controlled existence may not be quite as it appears. As Mina and her friends uncover the dark secrets of what actually happened there and who they really are, the girls of Innovations Academy will learn to fight back. I'm so excited to read this book because it has everything I ever want in a series. Strong female protagonists, the concepts of what society believes a woman could do, plot twists, mystery, thrillers. Absolutely here for it. Yes ma'am, every single day. Idea of a smart female protagonist wandering through a boarding school, discovering all of its dark secrets. Yes, please give it to me now. The second book that is currently in my PO box is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. The description of the book is, what if you could live again and again until you got it right? On a cold and snowy night in 1910, Ursula Todd is born to an English banker and his wife. She dies before she can draw her first breath. On that same cold and snowy night, Ursula Todd is born, lets out a lusty wail, and embarks upon a life that will be, to say the least, unusual. For as she grows, she also dies, repeatedly, in a variety of ways, while the young century marches on towards its second cataclysm, World War. So this novel is one that I'm a little bit more, I don't want to say hesitant about, but I am a little bit more like, what do you have to offer me? Because I, to be quite frank, am not the biggest fan of historical fiction. I do read it here and there, but it's not like my go-to source of reading. Like, my go-to source is fantasy, and it's always been fantasy, it always will be fantasy. The main attraction to the book that I had was this idea of her being born over and over again and of living many lives, and you know, that is that fantastical element. So yeah, of course I was attracted to that. I've heard wonderful things about the book and about all of its messages about rebirth and of different life cycles, so I'm really excited to see where it goes. The next 3 books in my TBR are ebooks that I picked up along the way from recommendations from friends and also just kind of sussing things out a little bit. The first one is Winterwood by Shia Earnshaw, and I am intrigued by this book. The book follows this girl who lives by these woods that are considered to be haunted by the entire town. And one day she goes into it and she finds this boy who should be dead after spending so long in the woods, but he isn't. And so it's her and this boy kind of figuring out what it is that happened to him and what happened in the woods. Honestly, intriguing. Yes ma'am. The book is a mixture of folklore, fairy tales, and fantasy romance all bunched into one little ball, and I'm really excited to get into it and see what it is that happens and what it is about these woods that makes it so special and so dangerous to everybody that lives there. The next book that I have in ebook form is When Marnie Was There by Joanne J. Robinson. Once again, another book that inspired a Studio Ghibli movie. So if you can kind of tell a theme here, you might be guessing a little something that I have planned to release a little later on in the week. So this is a book that follows Anna, a girl who's sent to the countryside of Norfolk after her parents die, and how she meets a girl there named Marnie who seems to have these fantastical abilities and this fantastical background, and basically how together they learn from each other and become friends. I have never seen the movie When Marnie Was There, actually. It's one of the few Studio Ghibli films I think I haven't seen, and so I'm really excited to be able to read the book first and then move on and watch the movie, because especially with like Studio Ghibli movies, I feel like the books that inspired them don't tend to take the forefront. We've kind of reached a point where we're like, we even forget like the books even exist to a certain extent, if that makes sense. And then next people are going to be like, oh my god, no, that's my favorite book, and fair. But I think for like the most part, a general audience tends to like know the movies and not necessarily know the books. So I'm really curious to see what it's like to read a book that inspired a Studio Ghibli movie and then watch it afterwards. But yeah, I'm really excited to like see what happens and be able to kind of compare them and have that good little moment. It's really exciting. Finally, the last book on my TBR, the last ebook I have to present to y'all. This book needs an introduction. I was not going to read this book this month. It was not even really on my radar. I'm gonna be completely honest. There was another book I was interested in. I was like gonna put that in. And then I was sitting down with my mother over the holidays and she was like, oh my god, I love sci-fi. Have you heard about this movie with Timothée Chalamet? And I said, yes. And she said, do you want to watch it? And I said, sure. And then it was a moment. It was an event. I do not have the vocabulary to put it into words. So the last book for our January TBR is Dune by Frank Herbert. I am so excited about this. And like, okay, let me be clear. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I don't think I'm gonna like it. I don't think it's for me. You know, I don't think I was the audience Frank Herbert ever intended to touch this book. But am I so excited to read this and be so confused? Yes. We'll get there when we get there. Like, listen, I'm gonna give her a fair shot. I'm gonna give Frank a fair shake, okay? I'm gonna be nice to Frank. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna give him a chance to win me over. The bar is low. My expectations are low. But if Frank can deliver that sweet, sweet serotonin, then I'm gonna let Frank do whatever Frank need to do to give me that sweet, sweet serotonin. So I am really excited about this. I hate myself, but I'm so excited. So those are all the books that I currently have on my January TBR. I am very excited to read them all, plus a little extra something something. I have decided this month and every single month leading till December that I'm going to randomize an extra book to read each month aside from my TBR with a little special way of picking out the book. So you're just gonna have to wait and see what that book is later when I pick her out, because we're not picking her out today. No, we gonna pick her out in a later video. But I'm really excited about that. So all in all, I believe it's 10 books that I'm gonna be reading this month, which is quite high. I think my expectations for myself are quite elevated, especially considering the fact that I haven't read in a long time. But you know what? I think I can do it. I honestly, like, I believe it is possible, and I believe in myself, and I believe in my capabilities to find a way. So now that we have that out of the way, I want to hear from you. What are you reading this year? What are your reading goals for the year? What are you reading this month? Have you read any of these books? Are they good? Are they bad? Should I be forewarned? What is going on? I hope that y'all will check me out in the future as I slowly go through them and start reviewing things as the month goes on. And hopefully I will see you here next month for my February TBR. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, subscribe so you can see of the reviews of the next ones coming up later. And I wish you all a happy, incredible, bright, lovely January full of love and energy and everything that you need to get your goals done in 2022. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!